Hello and welcome to session 2 for Global Fabric Day 2026, Security, Location, and Intelligence in Microsoft Fabric. So happy to have everybody joining us today, and we're going to continue on our discussion. Again, we are the Microsoft Fabric Location Intelligence and Security User Group as part of Fabric Data Days. We're so happy you're here, and yes, this is a qualifying event for Fabric Data Days to get your certifications, and we're so excited to get everybody certified. So DP 600, 700, 800, those are free certification vouchers that you can qualify to get. And then there's also 50% discounts on PL 300, and there's another one that we had just highlighted in our last session that we'll see again soon. So yeah, we just invite you to that. Links will be being dropped in the chat. Again, hello everybody, welcome back. Excited to have you all here. And again, thank you so much to my mods, to Lee, to Usman, for keeping the chat going, for Frank, for Demir. Just appreciate all of you. So always happy to see familiar faces. And love having you all here. And a big part of this is I'm here to have us all share information and to think about things maybe in ways we haven't thought about them before, and apply some new skills and ways in which we can think about our work and our workflow and the things we can add to our data science. And I'm always obviously excited about the location aspects of things and the security aspect of the things and the AI aspect of it all. But I really also want to just encourage everybody on community building. I mean, that's what we get as Microsoft student ambassadors, is we get to be part of this vibrant community where we're all supporting and helping each other. And so part of what we're building here is community. So you may have noticed I usually don't gate things, but I decided for this event, I was like, I'm going to gate the chat. So I do ask you to subscribe. And part of that is just community building so that you're all part of this together. We can learn from each other. We can all be in this together. So again, super excited to have you here. And, just our stage right now, we are representing, I'm in the Americas. I'm currently in California. We've got South Africa, we've got Pakistan. So we ourselves are representing a global space and know that our audience is global as well. And we love that you're joining us from all over the world. So we're going to get started on this session. And then we have more to hear from Kim Manis and their team. We were just playing that video at the end of the last session. And so we'll bring that back and we'll kind of see that in pieces throughout our sessions. So we get the whole thing. So now we're coming into, I have a whole master's degree on the where of location intelligence, which is often a most overlooked business signal. You will see that I do a lot of events on location intelligence, geoanalytics, all things GIS, and we'll just kind of continue that conversation here. But if you have any questions about anything to do with this, I love sharing it, teaching it, talking about it, mentoring, building projects, helping other people build their projects. I love this, and I'm just very passionate about sharing it with all of you and seeing you add this to your workflow, whether you do it inside Fabric, whether you do it in just a general notebook, whether you decide to actually start using geospatial tools, whether it's the free ones like QGIS or GRASS, or more the proprietary Esri tools. I'm here for it. So we can see that location intelligence is often the most overlooked business signal. And it is this way because of the way that data scientists and analysts are trained, is that it's always been separated from GIS. So the GIS people are over on one side and the analysts are on the other. And I will say, even coming through the GIS education, we learn some of the data science foundations, but not all of them are as well. And so I'm up-leveling my Excel and my Power BI, and I love Fabric, but I would say that wasn't sort of natively in my GIS education. So, and databases as well. So now I'm going in and like rooting in on SQL and Power BI and just adding Fabric to my own kind of workflows in ways that aren't part of how we are trained as GIS professionals. And again, I think I see that most people who come up through data science aren't trained in basic location concepts. So I am definitely here to bridge that gap, because it does create a blind spot when you have the where. So we obviously use in SQL, like where is like, oh, okay, sort of which table are we pulling it from? But here it's like the where is actually location data. What is the where of the zip code, the county, the city, the state, the country, coordinate system, coordinates, whatever that location signal that is in your data, we can now use that to see there's a continuous context for discovery. You can look at what proximity reveals, what clusters reveal around demand. You can look at it for what routes reveal efficiency. So now a single coordinate unlocks demographics, environmental context, and hidden business patterns. So location intelligence is not just maps. So it's not sort of a dot on a map, a dashboard with a map widget, or GIS software running in a separate portal, or static spatial reports. What it is spatial context embedded in business decisions. It's the where and the when and the what as a unified analytic signal. It's geospatial data as a first-class layer inside Fabric, and it's real-time location feeding operational intelligence. So we've got this sort of paradigm shift in analytics. So there's the role of location, analysis type, visual output, and enrichment. So we've got traditional BI. You can a label used for filtering a group. In spatial BI and Fabric, it's a continuous context for discovery and enrichment. For traditional Power BI, relational and aggregated sum joined by our group. Here you've got proximity, routing, and spatial joins at scale. In traditional BI, your visual output is flat charts and static shape maps. And here you can have layered, interactive, topological maps. And the enrichment was internal data only and manual data appends. And now you have Living Atlas, which is where Esri puts all of its gold layer data that's now available inside Fabric. And Living Atlas is amazing. And on Tuesday, we're going to do a dedicated, like, let's get to know Esri and Living Atlas session, because there's just so much to explore with Living Atlas. It's all of their best data published. And you've got open data layers natively now in OneLake. So location is the hidden KPI. So behind every business decision is a where that can change its meaning. So when you look at risk, where are claims concentrated? Where are anomalies clustering? So geography predicts exposure. Resilience, which facilities, routes, or supply chains overlap with hazard zones. The map reveals the answer in seconds. Logistics, you can look at delivery time, fuel costs, and SLA compliance all have a spatial root. Service quality, customer satisfaction scores are spatially autocorrelated. Local conditions explain variance that surveys miss. Fraud detection, transaction velocity at location cluster reveals fraud patterns invisible in transactional data alone. So there's just so much stuff that we can see inside data. One of the rules of geography, it's called Tobler's first law of geography, is that things that are closer together are more alike than things that are further apart. And then so when you're doing this analysis, and I think part of what I also always want to encourage people is just getting to know the terms and some of the basic thoughts behind geospatial thinking will help you embrace it and not be afraid of it. And I think even small things like scale, I remember I had to remind myself it's inverted. So when you think small scale, large scale, a small scale is actually the world, meaning it's inverted. So a very large space, you don't see much detail. Whereas a city could be large scale, because now you actually see a lot of detail. So a smaller space gives you more detail. So that large space, just so understanding things like scale. Where GIS professionals will always be GIS professionals, and you're not being asked to be GIS professionals, is in concepts like we live on a bumpy ellipsoid, and we're making that a flat map, and it's a projection, and every projection is a choice, and that's where cartographers have their skills of, what are we choosing? Are we choosing to distort size or distance or shape? And that and so when you deal with coordinate systems, and you are also projecting it onto a flat map, you're dealing with, there's different types of, there's projected and geographic. So there's different types of projections, and within those projections, like I said, that's when it starts to get complicated. The nice thing is you get the easy button on this. You do not need to get into those, like the details of that, but it's good to learn the basic concepts of it. And those basic concepts will sort of help you in your journey, because there's just so many applications to this. So just a couple application examples of real-time intelligence location. So you can do decisions while events unfold. So you can deal with wildfire and disaster response, asset location, burn perimeter, evacuation routes. That's sort of a real-time operational picture where you can be using Fabric, RTI, and ArcGIS Velocity. You've got utility outage management. So you've got smart meter events, grid topology, customer density. So you can look at an outage priority and restoration sequence. You've got real-time site intelligence. So you can look at foot traffic streams, competitor locations, demographic layers. And so now you can have a live store performance context. You can look at border and port security. So vessel and vehicle tracks, cargo manifests, anomaly detections. So now you're getting into GeoInt, which is sort of more like national security, geospatial intelligence style threat identification. And so you can look at risks, logistics, resilience, service quality, fraud detection. All of that is inside of location. And so you can get from static to root cause. So you can look at a flood zone, you can look at traffic anomalies and road closures, you can look at, why was there a delivery failure? And you can see that all with these sort of map layers. So Esri's inside of Microsoft Fabric, I just think is the coolest and most exciting thing. I love it, and I just want to make sure everybody kind of knows it's there and that it can be part of the workflow. And not only just knows it's there, but because Esri is proprietary, some of the stuff is in public preview right now, like the ArcGIS for maps. So you can use it and play with it and experiment with it, and then it will become generally available, and it will get expensive, which is fine if you're enterprise and you have a use case for it and you want to bring that into an enterprise adoption. But I'd still encourage you to be thinking about what you can do with just location and notebooks. I mean, you can create your own map without any additional software. You can I have examples of it where you can just run code and create a chloropleth map. And that's another thing, learning the names of the maps. So chloropleth map is the one that just has color densities. And so you can create one of those just writing code in a notebook. And what's really nice about AI, it can help you create that notebook. It can even create a small data set for you to use. So, or you can, there's many ways to access these data sets. And that's another reason why we love Living Atlas, because there's really great gold medallion data sets in there as well. So we've got the convergence. So Esri inside of Microsoft Fabric. So you've got a unified spatial lakehouse, no separate GIS portals, and no new tech stack is required. Again, that you've got ArcGIS Geoanalytics is now in general availability, meaning that's enterprise, and it's amazing. If you're enterprise, I highly recommend seeing how it can add to your kind of operational workflow. But for everybody, if you have a Fabric account, you use Fabric, or you can set up your 60-day free trial of Fabric. You do have to, not have to, but it's usually recommended that you do add a paid capacity to do more. But that is in public preview, so that's going to be free right now. And now you've got built-in ArcGIS for Power BI. This integration makes some of Esri's core capabilities accessible for data professionals directly from their Microsoft Fabric environment. And so that is what I think is super exciting. My attention is being called to, we have some questions. So let me see what, okay, questions. Person asks, present Power BI and Tableau are widely used for data representation. So what enhances the data will it reduce the data extraction through Python or more convenient extraction and visualization? Present Power BI and Tableau. So what enhances the data through Python? Just noticed I got an echo back. I'm not sure I actually completely understand the question. Okay, I think I'm just going to break this down. So Power BI and Tableau are used for visualizations. We use those for the reports. I understand that part of the question. So it enhances the data. I guess where I was saying, so you can actually, what I would say is, this is more to me, is before you get into the visualization stage, is you're in the analysis stage, which you're going to obviously use Power BI and Tableau in the analysis, is just start thinking about maps. And I've seen a lot of Tableau has maps, and a lot of Power BI, when you look at sort of examples of things, there are maps. So my encouragement to all of you is start thinking in maps. Start thinking of, when you look at data, and if your data has any kind of information that is location-based, let's just say it has a list of states or provinces or regions, kind of any administrative boundary, and there's differences in concentration. So you can do things as simple as population or occurrences of something. And you want to say, what was the concentration, which were the areas that were highly impacted, which were the areas that were moderately impacted and low impact. And you want to visualize that with a color concentration gradient. You're going to be able to then see that on a map. So my encouragement just to everybody who does data science is start thinking about making maps. There's a really lightweight free tool. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat that you can download, and it does very, very basic analysis. You can do just autocorrelation. You can just create bar charts and graphs, and you can create very, very simple chloropleth maps. And using it's like I said, it's a super, super lightweight tool called Geoda. It's free. And if you are so brand new to maps and you're like, I've never made a map before, or you just want to take like some very simple data sets and just do like a very basic visualization of them, like using Moran's Eye, or there's like different statistical tools you can use in different settings. It is super lightweight, and it's just a great tool for just someone who's like never made a map before. They have mapping, and you can just upload your data set. Like I said, as long as you have like the location and the number, you can then create like your first chloropleth map. So that's just like a really cool tool to just get started. So I want to just encourage everybody, like all of this stuff is on a scale. It's on an individual scale, it's on a team scale, it's on a company scale, it's on an enterprise scale. Same thing with the costs associated with this. There's tons you can do for free. There's things that you need licenses for. There's things that if you're a student, you can get access to some of those licenses. And then there's things, like I said, that companies will pay for. And there's things that enterprise will pay for, depending on sort of what the value add is. So just know that when we talk geospatial, there's levels. There's lots and lots of levels. So I'm kind of right now just kind of giving you kind of an enterprise overview of what's possible, but also want to make sure we're grounding it to you as an individual, that you feel comfortable jumping in and saying, hey, I want to try this. Like, I've not done this before. And just be someone who can feel comfortable getting in and creating maps and really adding that to your visualizations. Even if you're using Power BI or Tableau, or like I said, you can use Geoda, you can run it in a Python notebook, and you can like start building your map visualizations. And so now again, we've got it. Doesn't need to be separate. It can be right inside of Fabric. And with that, we've got there's GeoPandas and Shapely. So you can do Python spatial analysis. And these are just basically your libraries. There's KQL geofunctions, so native geospatial functions in KQL. There's ST underscore in Fabric SQL. So it's a standard spatial SQL functions for geometry operations in the warehouse. There's ArcGIS for Power BI. So ArcGIS map layer embedded natively into Power BI. So no portal or export. So I think that might answer the Power BI question. So yes, if you're using Power BI, go check out ArcGIS. And again, what is the proprietary software that is Esri's is known as ArcGIS Pro. So my master's degree was literally spending years learning ArcGIS Pro. There's still more to learn, but I've gotten past the cry phase. I definitely, like my first 2 semesters, was like crying at learning ArcGIS Pro. And I don't want anybody here to cry. And you don't have to. That's the nice thing about these tools in Microsoft, is they're now making it so these are accessible and usable emphasis, you don't need a master's degree or years and years of experience. And that's part of what Esri's strategy is they were like, you know what, our software is kind of hard to learn. Maybe we can have a version of it that is really accessible to everybody. And that's what they're doing. And then you've got Azure Maps SDK, and you've got H3 hexagonal grid. So that's kind of an Uber H3 for spatial aggregation and density analysis. I have to say, that's actually one thing I still want to learn is how to make hexagonal grids in my ArcGIS Pro. I don't know how to do that yet. I know they can be really valuable and they look good. The other thing I want to also encourage all of you to do is, before you become map creators, be map readers. Start to look for the maps and start to see what was the data and what's being conveyed here, and does this work, and do I understand it? Could this be done better? Would I have made the same choices? Start to be map readers, and then also start to be map leaders, meaning showing other people on your team how maps can be used to answer data questions. And then also, then you can start to learn to be map makers. But it's a process. Start with being map readers, and start to apply that geospatial thinking, and again, it can be, there's a lot of commercial fabric scenarios. So you can look for pattern of life analysis. So track adversarial. So this is kind of actually looking at more of like a geoent. You can sort of look at which is again on the national security side, you track adversary movement patterns. But on the commercial side, it's customer journey mapping and location dwell time analytics. So in intelligence, it's early signals of emerging threats. In commercial, it's leading indicators from spatial sensor networks, from incident impact operations. In IC, it can be fusing SIGINT, IMINT, HUMANINT. In commercial, it's fusing IoT systems, GIS layers, and enterprise data inside a fabric. In intelligence, it could be detect change in satellite imagery. In commercial, it's it can do before and after style change analysis for environmental compliance or asset monitoring. And so just thinking through kind of what would be kind of an intelligence application versus what is a commercial application. And so it's kind of exciting that you get, like I said, you've got streaming and real-time intelligence, you've got warehouse, you've got lakehouse and ETL, and then you've got your visualization layer. So wherever you're at in the workflow, there's ways to be thinking about incorporating and working with spatial data. And you've got your medallion architecture. So you've got raw standardized you want to standardize coordinates. That's a big part of working with geospatial. And when you use digital, it's WGS 84 is the standard coordinate, the projection. And so just understanding data arrives as messy longitude, latitude, or raw text addresses. Move that to your silver. So you perform geocoding, execute spatial joins, clean out of bound anomalies, and write enriched data back to OneLake. And then gold, which is the equivalent of Living Atlas from Esri, is gold. And that's that business ready. So you serve your aggregated spatial features, Uber H3 hex grids, multi-layer feature classes directly to Power BI, Direct Lake. And then your synthesis decisions while events unfold. Again, that's the real-time, geoanalytics, H3 stacking over OneLake. And again, Esri is bringing in that 180 spatial SQL functions and analysis tools that can be natively run in Spark, scale and speed, execute spatial joins. So you can have 59,000 pipelines to road intersections. You can get that in less than 2 minutes. And the capabilities of spatial joins and enrichments, pattern and relationship mining, proximity, containment, adjacency, and corridor analysis. And so with all of this, again, no new tech stack required, work in spatial data alongside your business data, all in OneLake. So with that, where are we at with time? We started at 10:45. Okay, so we got 15 minutes in this session, just checking in. Contents, okay, so then love Living Atlas, and I said we have a dedicated session on Tuesday just to doing a deep dive into Living Atlas. And it's your internal data tells you what, the Living Atlas tells you why and where it matters. These are just already pre-cleaned, authenticated data sets that you now have access to. So internal OneLake, you've got your customer locations, asset registries, event logs, IoT readings, And then you can add living atlas context. So whether it's environmental, wildfire risks, flood zones, climate elevation, demographic, population density, income levels, infrastructure, roads, utilities, boundaries, real-time weather, emergency alerts, and then you connect, you enrich, you visualize, and you publish. I just on Friday attended earlier this week. I attended a lab that was held with Esri and the Microsoft team, and they ran us through notebooks and just gave examples of how all of this is used. So I'll also be sharing those as part of our sort of follow-up resources, because there's really good information in there where you can really see, how the maps are built inside the notebooks. And yeah, so you've got your Fabric BI and data engineering, and you've got, which is, you can bring sort of spatial joins, region aggregations, proximity checks, and basic enrichment, and exploratory spatial dashboards. And you've got your sort of enterprise GIS professionals, and so this is kind of where the handoff is. So you're not going to do all of it. There's a point that you'll be like, I'll bring in GIS professionals to do more complex network routing, heavy raster imagery and remote sensing processing, deep topological modeling, and authoritative data maintenance. That's more for like your GIS professional. So this is not to make you into a GIS professional, but it's to give you sort of those starting tools that you can not need to ignore those data columns in your data, or other access to spatial and locational information. And we're going to, like, if you're looking at sort of adding this, like the location is no longer a specialty, it's a measurable, optimizable data dimension. And there's ways to continue to learn it and apply it. So track one is just like find the location column hiding in your current data set. You can use the ArcGIS maps for Fabric as a quick start. You can execute a simple st_within to do spatial joins in a Spark notebook. I think for everybody, for all of us here, I'm not yet fully certified, and I'm like really want to go down the certification track as well, along with all of you. So DP 300, PL 300, DP 600, DP 700, now they have DP 800, are all great, sort of stacks on the learning stack. And then Esri has a ton of resources, and then they have their own certifications. I'm just about to start that process, so I'm curious to know what would be for sort of someone looking at location and applying a location intelligence with Fabric versus somebody who is a GIS professional, because I'm curious if some of their basic credentials would be good for a BI or data analyst to do, because I don't think you'll want to approach the pro, which are ones that I kind of aspire to get to, but that's me sort of wearing a GIS hat. But Esri is still an incredible resource for learning as well. And then track 3, the cross-skill premium, again, bringing in security, data, agents, location. I think there's just like a place to pull all of it together. I was really surprised when I was saying like how KQL is, applied for, real-time intelligence, but also for security, which is real-time intelligence. And again, I see these things being so siloed. I was like, oh, well, we should do an event where we bring together cybersecurity professionals and data professionals, and we all kind of talk KQL, and just all the resources, available for kind of learning it and applying it, and being good at KQL, because it has, multiple applications. And then like at the highest level of GIS is JISP, and that's, the GIS professional track. I just passed my exam. I just got notified yesterday, but now I need to like put together a portfolio and also demonstrate your work experience and other things that like in sort of becoming a JISP. So there's levels to all of this, but I encourage all of you to get started and not be afraid of your location data. Like embrace it, use it, think about it, and connect with other people who are equally excited about it, and start making some maps as data analysts, BI professionals, data scientists, and just people like ourselves who are all just fans of Fabric. So the takeaways is location is not a visualization feature. It's a decision signal. that changes the meaning of every business metric. You have the opportunity for real-time intelligence, and geospatial data enables decisions while events are still unfolding, not hours later. You've got a full geospatial stack, so the KQL geo functions of st underscore, GeoPandas, ArcGIS run natively inside Fabric. You've got the GeoInt analytical patterns of pattern of life, INW, change detection, so map directly to commercial Fabric scenarios. And these user group exists, though this user group, our user group, exists because this intersection of location, security, AI, and Fabric seems to be underserved elsewhere, and so we want to step forward and fill that gap. We just did our location intelligence and maps with geoanalytics and Microsoft Fabric as a 90-minute session last Tuesday, so I'll make sure you all have access to that replay and some of our post-event resources from that. And then on Tuesday, super excited for our Get to Know Esri, from Living Atlas to Spatial Analysis for Fabric users. And then these are all of our events that our user group is hosting. So we started with location intelligence, which we just did. And then we are here today for our Global Fabric Day. Then we move on to our Get to Know Esri. And then on July 7th, we're going to do data and AI. And we'll talk more about the security and governance in Microsoft Fabric. We're going to cover a lot of that stuff today. So we're like almost everything here is going to be covered across these sort of deeper dive sessions. So, and then Fabric IQ, we'll do a deeper dive into that. And then Win in the Seams is stitching together data and security with Microsoft Fabric. And so that's where we're getting more into the KQL and data logs. And then we'll have a dedicated session on KQL for data and security professionals. So Win in the Seams and today are these kind of half-day long events with, in theory, I usually like to have multiple speakers. You get me a lot today. Hedier is going to join us for session 5. But I will have other guest speakers coming and leading the sessions across these other days. And so, yeah, the 25th is, and actually I've moved the July 28th date to August 4th because actually I will be speaking on the Microsoft Reactor Day stage on the 28th. They just added me to the schedule and I was like, okay, we can change that around. So I'm checking in with all of you. How are you all doing? And any questions that we should be answering before we jump into our next session? And just hopefully everything's having fun, learning some stuff. I'd love to hear like what your takeaways are, what you're learning, and just like, yeah, hopefully you're having fun. Let me just kind of check the chat. All right. I see lots of stuff happen in the chat. Okay, cool. All right, so good. All right, hopefully you're all, like I said, having a lot of fun. Love having you here. We've got a few more sessions to go. We're going to kick off our next session. We're going to go back to Kim Manis and that video and seeing kind of what, again, they're sharing with us from headquarters and just coming off of Microsoft Build on June 2nd and 3rd. And then, like I said, we're here for all of Fabric Data Days and just so excited to have all of you here with us for that. And that is a lot of fun. So yeah, I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to just take some questions. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to take them. And I'm always just like really super curious about what your thoughts are about just location data. Are you using it? Have you thought about it? What's your relationship with maps? What's your relationship with data maps? I'd love to hear about sort of all of that. Okay, so we have a question about free vouchers. Just so you guys know, we are highly motivated to get everybody certified. We regularly do the Get Certified events. You'll actually see on this channel, we have 2 events that we ran for Get Certified with for DP 800, which is the AI-enabled SQL. That is a great certification to have, not just to show that you have SQL knowledge, but also to show that you really know how to use the AI tools. On the security side, their equivalent is SC 500, which is now in beta and will be coming into general availability probably later this summer. So DP 800 and DP 500 are really important for being able to demonstrate your ability to work with AI tools and AI governance and just AI deployment. So the answer is yes. They just really want you to attend these events, be part of the community, get to know each other, get to know us, and that's why we're all here for as part of this. But yes, in terms of getting your vouchers, it's not a game, and like they're not trying to make it difficult. As long as you're authentically you. I'll tell you what some of the barriers to entry are, because they've given me some vouchers that I have given to participants. The biggest thing is that what they don't want people doing is selling a voucher. So they just want it's your name, it's you. So you're giving a real an email that doesn't look like a spam email, an email that is kind of attached to your name, an email that's you. So that's why, like, another thing. So they just don't want people selling them. And then the other thing is when you go to register them, it's not gated. So they're asking you kind of on the honor system to say, yes, I will take DP 600, 700, 800, which are the ones that they're giving you the vouchers for. So that's another reason they want you to be here. And part of these events is to get you excited to take the DP 600, 700, 800, so you're not wandering off and taking other exams that are not part of the initiative. And because these exams are not particularly being given by Microsoft, they're specifically from the Microsoft Fabric community, and it's part of the Microsoft Fabric budget. So that's why they're asking you, like, hey, please attend these events to qualify. Why? So you can get excited about these particular certifications. That's why. And then 2, be yourself. So when you answer a couple of questions, don't use AI necessarily to write your answer. I mean, it can help you if you just need to make it cleaner, but if it looks really fake, then they just think it's spam. And so they do filter for spam. That's it. Other than that, they want you to have your voucher. So with that, I will we'll leave it here, and we'll see you all in the next session. And again, thank you so much for being part of this today. And we'll kick off session 3. So looking forward to seeing you all there. Thanks, everyone.